We are still alive. This is
We're here.
Fit for Life Radio. Your hosts, Gary and Will, here with you today.
Hi.
And we've missed everyone.
Yeah.
We've loved all two of you that said you missed us.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We missed you too.
And yeah, so it's actually a good example of the importance of habit and consistency. For those of you that know, I was moving from California to Virginia, so as we got into moving responsibilities and duties, my schedule got messed up for when we would normally link up and record, and yeah, we got out of alignment and decided it'd be easier just to kind of clean slate and start the podcast back up when I was situated, which we now are. So
Yep. Now we're sitting on the same couch,
same couch. We'll have
rubbing thighs.
a lot of guests with us too in person, which will be fun.
Yeah.
And we're excited to keep bringing all the good info and interviews and
Bring the pain.
bring the pain. So
All right, let's get into it. 'Cause you're like the most like routine person I've ever met. So kind of get into, I guess, how you maintain that while you traveled. 'Cause you guys did, for everyone who doesn't know, they did a cross country drive from LA to Virginia. What did it take? 8 days?
well, we did it in 10 days.
10 days.
We're taking our time.
So you're normally real routine with your eating. How did you make it work on your trip and still like stay nice and shredded? Because for a lot of people that's like a really hard thing to do, because then there's like a McDonald's and there's an Arby's and let's get gas station food and all this stuff. So like what rules did you set, I guess, so that you kind of stayed on top of your habits?
Yeah, I think what happens with most people is they say, "Oh, I can't be perfect, so I'll just do whatever," you know?
Whatever.
And they just throw caution to the wind.
Let's do it.
And,
Twinkies, baby.
Yeah. So for me, I simply, don't worry about that. And I then reestablished kind of my priorities to just being, hey, I just want to get the protein I like to get in each day.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then if anything after that is whatever. So, but typically when I eat enough protein, it keeps me pretty full, you know? So you're not going to want to just like eat Twinkies and Twizzlers while you drive the whole time. So we kind of like I always say, we really no snacks, because if you just, you're not eating a bag of Cheetos and like really feeling that satisfied from it.
Nah.
I mean, it's tasty, but you're not like, ooh, like that's a meal. You're just bored while you're driving and eating them. So
Exactly.
we just, no snacks. There's no need for them. We'll just, have something to eat in the morning, have something like stop and get gas and have lunch. And then when we get to the place, we'll go out for dinner, or have dinner. So typically 2 really basic meals. And then when we get there, go have like an enjoyment meal. So,
But that's balance too, and then the trade-offs. Because you can't have every meal being an enjoyment meal.
yeah, especially
Traveling or
for
not.
10 days.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good example of trade-offs with anything. You eat a little lighter and you eat pretty basic for 2 meals, and then it gives you a good amount of calories to kind of play around with at night. So you're still staying on track.
Yep. And I mean, I've been doing this so long, like I don't have to count calories or know, like I can kind of feel my hunger, and you just kind of know it balances out. Like, so for example, I would normally have just some protein in the morning. So just shake it up with some water, so 2-3 scoops, 50-60 grams. Then we got a bunch of canned chicken breast and canned tuna. And so we would stop at lunch, get gas, and just eat it out of the can. So I know to a lot of people that's disgusting, but we actually enjoy it. It's not, obviously you don't enjoy it like you would a pint of ice cream, but it's not like we're forcing it down.
Yeah.
And it's quick, easy, cheap,
Clean.
and like 50 grams of protein.
Boom.
So that's what we would do for lunch. And then, dinner, we were stopping in a lot of the bigger cities and would explore. So we would go out to eat, a couple steak and potato one night. When we were in Memphis, we got barbecue. So it's the whole 9. So you get the barbecue and the cornbread and the French fries.
Mm-hmm.
When we went to Nashville, they have like a biscuit place. So we went there for brunch.
Bro, that biscuit.
Dude. No, they had, dude, I was a little upset. They messed up my flow. I don't know why they wouldn't ask about this. There was like a sweet one that was like a peanut butter chocolate type one. and that was an appetizer, and they had
What?
a savory biscuit. Like I got like a burger type biscuit, but I thought they were gonna bring them out together.
Yeah.
They brought out the peanut butter chocolate banana one first, and I was like, I can't eat this first when I have a hamburger one coming. You got to end with this.
End with the sweet.
Right.
Start with the salty.
So I was like, well, I don't want to look like a weirdo or like I don't like it, so I'll eat half of it and then save the other half. But I started eating the half, and I was like, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Was it good? It was good. Yeah, they were good. And then the burger was good. The whole meal was great.
What was the best place you stopped? I know that's hard.
Probably just because it's such a classic and it's always so hyped up when a whole region is like known for a food, and it can be easily a letdown.
Mm-hmm.
But in Memphis, the rib meal.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, the rib meal was probably my favorite.
Yeah, see, I feel like every region has that, and I thought it was just like hype, right? Until like when we went to Texas.
It had the
Bro,
brisket.
that brisket.
Yeah.
And I still have dreams about it, and like any brisket I have, since then is just never gonna be as good until I go back. So now I feel like I got to go to where you in Memphis, Nashville,
Memphis,
and get some ribs.
Yeah. And it really is. When our last meal in California and SoCal was, we went to this taco place that we like, so tacos,
bro.
and they're amazing.
Yeah.
There's not gonna be any tacos like that in Virginia.
Were they corn tortillas?
Yeah, they were. Corn.
Okay.
They were like they make the tortillas.
Yeah. That made
So-
Diego happy.
So yeah, and then when we got to Virginia, we stayed with my brother-in-law and his wife in the Blacksburg area, and went out to eat, had drinks. When we stayed with her parents, same thing, and people just freak out. And I think the biggest difference is you want to get to a place like people will have a quote-unquote bad food and just feel like they sabotaged everything.
Yeah, like day's over.
Yeah.
Nothing matters.
But you don't. Just eat less the next day. So if we had like 2 days in a row where we ate out at 2 or 3 different restaurants and pigged out, had drinks, well then we'd have a day where we just ate lean protein,
Yep.
So just a protein shake, just some meat, and it's gonna kind of balance out,
Yep.
So it's nothing really to worry about. Now that's the thing. You can't eat. You can eat what you want. You just can't eat how much you want.
Crystal ball. That was
That's,
good.
So it's just so yeah, like, and you can even kind of eat how much you want in a day, but then you're not gonna be be able to eat how much you want
It's
the
got to
next day or
balance out
two.
over time. Like we'll call it a week or even a month. If you want to think really big picture, like that's
Yeah.
what matters. So as long as your average is fine.
So yeah, so that was and here's the thing, right? When you have a really good big meal, like you're super full and satisfied and happy. I feel like if you turn around and do that again for your next meal and your next meal, they're not as enjoyable then at that point.
No, because then it's all the same.
Yeah.
That's it.
So.
Yeah. Then your dose has to go up. You need a little something more.
Mm-hmm.
A little something more after that. So then you add, a little ice cream on top.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think that's a lot of people do struggle with that. So maybe like setting just a couple rules. Like, man, when I'm traveling, I want to make sure I get all my protein in every day.
Yeah.
Like that's a really good basic one. And then like don't stress everything else as much, but really put your emphasis on that. And focus all of your meals around it, even if it's eating canned tuna. That's going to help you.
And it's setting yourself up for success, right? It's okay, yeah, maybe having your exact meals and making them ahead of time and your clean carbs and all that on the road, like trying to do that, it's not going to happen, and then you're going to feel bad, and then you're going to completely fall off. Where if you just set a new set of rules for your circumstance, something you can actually achieve, then you get some good momentum and good juju,
Yeah.
So for me, when I have less control, it's still pretty easy to say, okay, I'm going to get a certain amount of protein a day, and then that permeates everything. So if you're at a restaurant, you're like, well, I still want to get my protein, so then you actually, maybe you'll pick the steak dinner, instead of just the spinach dip, like and crushing a bunch of stuff like that. And, so you end up making pretty good decisions, and pretty good is really all you need.
Especially if you're being consistent with pretty good.
Yeah.
Rather than like, I was so good today. And then, oh man, I was so bad for 5 days in a row. I just, said forget it and ate everything.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to be perfect. You just
Yeah.
have to be all right, you know?
Yep. And what you'll find is, or at least me personally, is I never then, like when I'm out of my routine and don't have control like I normally like, you never feel bad or guilty because you ate such and such food. You'll get to a point to where you just feel better when you eat and live a certain way, like your energy and all that.
Yep.
And that's what you miss and you're reminded of. So I like to that's actually fun. So it was fun to get about 5 days in and be like, man, I miss my routine. I miss my better sleep. I miss waking up more refreshed, which comes with, eating the way I normally eat. So you start to appreciate that stuff more. But it's nothing to like freak out over. Like you're not going to derail everything.
No, and circumstances always change, and people I think, get a little hung up on, like, when life happens. It's not linear. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna do this every single day for the rest of my life, and it's never gonna change, and I have to be perfect. Well, dude, sometimes you're driving across country, or sometimes circumstances are a little out of your control. Someone's in the hospital and you're there around the clock. I mean, you do the best you can, but you're not gonna beat yourself up because you didn't have all of your prepared beef and rice and all that kind of stuff. You do what you can and deal with wherever you're at the time. And then once your routine is a little bit more back to normal, you're just right back at it because you've kind of maintained those habits as much as you can, for that given circumstance. So it's all turning the dial.
Yeah.
Right. And for most people, the lowest dial should be, all right, well, eat my protein.
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop, mixed in water, once a day, and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out. If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop, mixed in water, once a day, and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
And then you can dial up when everything is a little more back to normal.
Yep. And the other thing I realized, so we're moving into a new place and all that. And even though we've lived here before, actually a lot's changed. There's like all these new grocery stores and everything. Is you have to reestablish a new routine. And most people focus on the diets and the methods, but the stuff that's most important and really the habits that actually make it all happen are getting back in my routine of grocery shopping. What time am I going to do it so that it gets done? My kind of weekly meal prep, getting back in that routine. Those are the overlooked habits that are way more important than the super specifics, worrying about superfoods, all that. You want to make sure you don't overlook these things.
Well, that's the base. I think that
Yeah.
because you could have all this stuff like, oh, I'm gonna eat this and this and this, but oh shit, I forgot to go grocery shopping. Now what am I gonna do? Then you're scrambling, and it's just you're not operating from a good place. So that's way more important, I feel. And I think that's a good base for everybody. It's like, well, make sure you get your groceries, make sure you have some kind of a plan and the routine. Even if it's just real loose. Like, all right, well, Sunday nights I'm gonna plan, what I'm eating the next day.
Yeah.
Great.
And we'll kind of sidestep into that. I had an email and post about how, most people struggle with change when it comes to nutrition. And I think a lot of that is expectations, right? People read a diet book and think, oh, I just changed these foods and that's it. And then they get overwhelmed and it never lasts. But the real reason we get overwhelmed is because we kind of aren't focused and not seeing the big picture of all the change that is required beyond that. So kind of mentioning how, changing what you eat also means changing how you shop, changing how you deal with stress, because a lot of people deal with stress by eating. That's got to change. Changing how we hang with our friends. Every time you hang with a certain friend involve eating pizza and having drinks, well, that could be an issue. If you hang out with that friend a lot, sometimes you have to change friends. People, that's a scary thought. Changing your relationship with food, changing how we prepare food. So all those, it's a lot more than just changing what you eat. That's just something you have to accept. So a lot of people would say, we've all done it. Say you've done a diet and failed, and then you just feel like you're the failure. But again, maybe change your perspective and realize you need to change a lot of things, kind of cut yourself some slack, and then go from there.
Well, yeah, and it's like you're trying to change, say, like the foods you're eating, but you forgot that you need to change a few other things to help that even be effective.
Yep.
Like if you don't grocery shop, then, doing the keto diet might still not work.
Yeah, because you might be trying to pick up food every day, or you start trying to shop and change your diet at the same time. Both are overwhelming. So you want to pick one thing to focus on. Like a lot of times we get and I understand it, people are like, just tell me what to eat. And that can work, but what we've seen over the last decade is people grind that out until they can't grind it out.
Yeah.
Like, here's your exact meal plan, just eat these foods. And we can give you a meal plan and you'll lose weight if you eat these foods, but then it all falls apart because it gets to be so exhausting.
And what if it's not available?
Yeah.
What do I do? What do I do in this situation where, oh man, I just can't eat my first meal? How do I do this? Well, if you don't know and you haven't kind of learned and actually acquired the skill and what comes with, kind of acquiring that and working on it, then you're not going to know, and it's all just going to crumble, and then you're probably going to, fall off the wagon because you have nothing to fall back on really other than I either follow this or I don't.
Yeah. I remember I was always a picky eater, and when I first got into fitness, and you see like a meal plan, and I followed it for a while, the old school like bodybuilder where you eat like 6 times a day.
God.
You have to eat these foods, and it was just, I was miserable, and it worked. I got results. Job. But I always had to have food ready. You always had to have Tupperware. You would get cranky if you couldn't find time or place to eat every 3 hours. It was just a huge cramp in your lifestyle. And then when I learned about, and this was way before it was popular. This was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
When we learned about intermittent fasting. So I started that and realized, and nothing changed. Like my energy, my body fat, all that, it was just the same food. Just I only ate 2 or 3 meals a day and skipped breakfast, and it didn't matter. So you kind of, and it was a little more convenient. I didn't have to have 6 meals a day. And then eventually I settled in, well, I have the time to eat breakfast and enjoy it, and 3 meals a day is more normal, and settle in that. So every person has their own journey, and there is kind of flexibility with finding what's sustainable for you so that you can actually keep with it.
Yeah.
A lot of people thrive on really rigid rules, but in the long term, they can normally backfire.
Yeah.
So,
I think like the most important thing is just, having good habits and how much am I eating, and then like the other stuff, like the method, right? The diet type is really just, well, what works for you. Some people might like not eating carbs. Cool. If you can sustain that and you're great and it doesn't rip apart your social situations, your social life, awesome. If you find yourself like, hey, I just want to eat a little bit of everything, cool.
Yeah.
That's what works for you. And it's finding that too. And I think most people should shoot for that middle ground because it kind of it allows for the most flexibility with things.
yeah. And I think the reason we get attracted to the extreme methods is we kind of hope that there is just amazing light bulb moment.
Mhm.
So like in the same, you could have one person tell you, well, if you eat breakfast, it stokes your metabolism and helps you lose fat. So then you're thinking, all I have to, if I just eat breakfast, I'll be burning
I'm gonna
fat.
rev this up.
And then you can literally turn the page or click on a different Instagram account or overhear a different conversation and hear someone say, intermittent fasting is key. You need to skip breakfast, and that keeps your body in a fat burning mode. Don't eat till noon. That's the key. And then someone thinks, all I have to do is skip a meal, and then I can eat whatever I want, and I'll be burning fat, right? And ultimately, both are right and both are wrong, right?
Yep.
There is no just magic thing.
It doesn't
It really
matter.
comes down to just your total intake, and how you divvy it out is just really personal preference and what's sustainable for your lifestyle. So
Yeah.
obviously someone who maybe gets up at 4 a.m. and has to hit the road by 4:30 might not have time for breakfast. Well, guess what? Like sitting down and having breakfast might not be sustainable for them. But so that's fine. They can push it back.
Yeah.
Or someone might have breakfast and enjoy sitting down and it starting the day, it gives them a good habit. So that could work just fine too.
Yeah, both of those are cool. Like you said, like the total you eat in a day is really all that matters. Like, yeah, I've gone through periods where I did 3 meals a day and I enjoyed it, and then circumstances change and I find myself, I work a little bit better if I can work out early, work afterwards, and then I'll worry about food around lunchtime. I find myself more productive that way, so it fits with my life to actually just push it to 2 meals, and they're bigger meals, so I'm a little more satisfied, and it just helps me to stay on track a little bit better too. So that's what I do. And if circumstances change and I start, working out at another time or my schedule changes, maybe my, when I eat will change, but my total will still stay the same, just around what I do.
And trust your body. Like I remember one time there was a thing like the warrior diet. It was basically like where you eat nothing all day and you try to get to like 1 meal a day. And again, like we just said, that can work. But I remember when I was doing that, and I also work out earlier in the day, and I felt awful, and I always felt awful. Like I always felt drained, and I would still just try to force it and work against it and be like, this has to work. And eventually when I just had a little bit more food earlier in the day, and not huge meals, but just stopped trying to completely avoid food or only have like one piece of fruit for each meal, and I felt so much better, and that's your body telling you something. Like if you're doing some super diet with all these rules and you just don't feel good, like don't try to force it,
Yep.
If you're doing some diet where you haven't used the bathroom in 30 days,
You should
it's
probably.
probably not a good thing. Like
Yeah.
that's so, but for some people that same thing could work great.
Yep.
So it's like, trust yourself and understand, it's about the principles, not the methods.
Mm-hmm.
So the principles are proper total food intake, finding, and people always say, well, how much is that? Well, if you're gaining weight, you're eating too much. If you're overweight and need to lose weight, then it's an amount where you're able to lose weight. And if you want to maintain your weight, it's really an amount where you're maintaining your weight.
Yep. And it's
So-
going to differ for everybody too. There's just so many factors. So you can't just put like a one single number on it and say, hey, this is just
Yep.
how much it is. We're all different sizes and have different muscle mass and just a lot that goes into it. So, but looking at those clues, like, hey, am I gaining weight? All right, well, maybe I should eat a little bit less than I
Yeah.
am.
Like a healthy diet for someone starting from scratch could be literally eating the same thing you're eating now, but a little less of it.
I have to say it's a great idea.
You know, like that's a good place to start.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I mean, that's a low barrier to entry, right? You still have the same stuff, same habits, just
yep. You're just eating a little less.
just break it up a little bit more.
So,
No, I like
and,
that.
Yeah, to close out, like we always say, the main principles and what we do recommend to give a good starting point is focus on protein first. You know.
Always.
So you need a certain amount of protein to do just regular things. So think of it like your body is a house, or if you hired a contractor and you said, all right, I want you to build me a house, and you only gave them a little teeny toolbox. That's basically what you're doing when you don't eat enough protein, right?
Yep.
So when you eat enough protein, you're getting enough tools and materials for your body to do its thing. So,
Yep.
and then you add in activity, and you need a little more. So, and
Yep.
then, you know, animal protein is all the complete protein and amino acids you need, so it's a little bit easier. But for whatever reason you don't want to eat animals, you can do it through plant foods, but it's harder. So you have to combine certain foods like rice and beans, things like that. And then those foods are also high in carbs, which then means you might have to have a little bit less fat to keep your calories in check.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so those are all the factors.
Yep.
That's kind of what we coach people through, and that's why there's like no cookie cutter one way.
Nope.
Because if everyone's in personality type, some people do good with numbers, some people get overwhelmed with numbers, some people like templates. So it's, you know, don't feel bad when you try some diet and it doesn't work for you. Like you're the problem.
Yeah.
You know.
Just use it like it's just, you know, data. It's information. Like, okay, I did this and it didn't work.
And then
What
what
should I
else
work
can
on?
I do? Yeah.
Yeah.
With ultimately always working towards the principles of getting in a calorie deficit and getting enough protein.
Boom. Actually, I think that's really what it boils down to 100%.
Yep.
If you do that, you're good.
Yeah.
Those two things. Don't complicate it.
Yep. And even when you're traveling. So like I said, you can set little rules to nail those principles, which I was able to do when I was traveling by just getting enough protein and balancing pleasure meals with just kind of fuel meals.
Love a good pleasure meal,
Mm.
but also a fuel
We're going to
meal.
have some pleasure meals this weekend.
We are going to have some pleasure meals.
Cookout.
Mm.
It's always a good time.
There's
Just
going to be donuts
donuts.
and sourdough bread
Mm.
and guacamole.
But see, I can't crack into those donuts first.
Mm-mm.
That's
Nah,
the
nah,
improper
nah.
improper meal
Nah, you
order.
got to go savory, eat a couple burgers.
There you go.
Ooh,
Then
put
donuts.
a burger on the donut.
Yep. And then that might keep me from eating 12 donuts. I'm kind of full from the meat.
That's what I do. You eat as much
Yeah.
meat as you can, then you have one donut.
Yeah.
I say that. Let's see if that happens.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this first episode back.
We got a lot more coming.
Fire them off. All right, you can hit us up on Instagram or Facebook or email us. So I imagine if you're listening to this podcast, you know how to find us on those things. So.
Yeah. Don't call us, though.
All right, guys. Holler back.
Later. As always, thanks for listening, guys. If you want to learn more, check us out at coastalfitnessva.com or garydeagle.com. We'll see you next time.